if you just want to take a couple of breaths, please settle down. But David, you are back on stage with a presentation on Mutumutu. So all the pending questions and sort of both supportive but also challenging, I think bring it on. Stay the engaged audience you've been. And I would pass on the baton to David.
Yeah, thank you very much. First, I will do the 2-minute short introduction. So only with the subtitles. Thank you. Tak děkuji za puštění. Tak děkuji za pozornost. My jsme se snažili, vlastně to je normálně běžné ke shlédnutí na YouTube, vlastně vysvětlit všechny výhody toho našeho pojištění, tak jsme to vlastně dali všechno do jednoho spotu, který byl přes 2 minuty dlouhý. Kdo to dělá, tak většinou ví, že 2 minuty na YouTube se nikdo nekouká. A tady v tom případě překvapení bylo, že se koukali aspoň na začátku až do konce, že to mělo velmi dlouhou sledovanost. To, co jsme chtěli udělat, je jakoby prezentovat životní pojištění trošičku jinak, než jako smutné příběhy, ale spíš navázat na to, že to je onlineový, že to má nějaké benefity speciální, které nejsou běžně dostupné a že dokážeme klienty odměňovat za to, že se o sebe starají. A vlastně proč jakoby vzniklo Mutumutu, já už jsem se toho dotkl v tom panelu. Oh, yeah, sorry. And the subtitles were there, so it's good. So I just mentioned that the video was 2 minutes long and was full of all what we do because we wanted to have it as an explanation video on YouTube. And thank you for reminding me to speak English. And that the average number of people who went to the end was for us a surprise. And that it was slightly different than typical life insurance advertisement with sad stories and etc. This is the Mutumutu team. The average age is about 28, and without me it would be 24. And at the peak we were 25. with all developers and everything. Once we developed the product, we cut back to about 10 core people, plus 5 programmers who still help us to develop and maintain the product. The team in the middle, it's Indralens, which is currently CEO of Mutumutu, Tomáš Wackerman, who is in charge of product and prevention program, and all the things we have there. We have a product person, like we have a normal insurance company, because we have to take care about the products, take care about the conditions. So it's like very small, little online life insurance, but we don't have the license. We cooperate on that with komerční pojišťovna, but we process the contracts, we do cashbacks, we run the prevention program and exchange the data with the insurance company to the database. And also the insurance company handles claims, because at the beginning we don't have that many claims, so we don't have a profession for full-time person to handle the claims. So that's it. Can I go to the next page? Jo, nebo si můžu cvakat tady? Kde?
So sorry,
Sorry.
David, if I can just ask one question which was pending from there. So the name Mutumutu, was it chosen to kind of sound different and attract a different audience?
Yes, it's a good story, because we wanted to differentiate from the other typical life insurance companies, so we had different names. You will see it later. We tested them. One was Pools, the second was like insurance with rewards and some kind of this data, this kind of names. But then we worked together with creative agency, and they came with Mutumutu, which is like mutual. So if we take care about ourselves, then we get cash back, and insurance companies get good clients with low number of claims. So we are creating like community together. So Mutumutu was abbreviation from mutual, and then we came with this logo, Mutumutu, registered, and this is how it came. Actually, the name was not the most preferred. We did a test, and the best names which were scored were names which were closer to insurance industry, which has insurance in the name or life in the name or things like that. But we decided to go for Mutumutu, because we can give the Mutumutu meaning. It's the only insurance with combination of online and the prevention program, and we give the Mutumutu meaning. I hope that in 5 years, if we say in Europe Mutumutu, then it will mean by itself the product which we do. So that was the reason why we chose Mutumutu. And fortunately, it had no connotations, but there is a Romanian player, Mutumutu, which was active, I think, 10 years ago, but otherwise, it's okay. But it's very difficult to select a good name, which is not registered. Yes, and thirdly, it was not the most important thing, but if you create this type of name, we are a startup, so Mutumutu was not registered. So we registered everywhere, the domains and name and everything. So it was like financial benefit for us as well to play with the name. I mentioned already, so in why we did it, because it's hardly to arrange life insurance online. It's mostly agents and salespeople who do it, so we wanted to do it online. People were not sure what they are insured for, actually, because of high number of claims. And people typically, and you know that who are from insurance industry or finance industries, people not typical person reads the contracts and terms and conditions carefully, so he knows exactly for what he is insured. So this was like to reduce that and make the product simpler, so people can understand what is written there. And not tangible value for money. We don't do life with the investment part, it's only risk. So we wanted to reward people for some kind of activity, and this connection seemed good for us. So Mutumutu is combining online customers with friendly product, easy to use application, and the rewards for healthy lifestyle. The product itself has 4 components. The first one, it's the online how we treat UX, and for the treatment of UX, there was a Lemonade insurance company who was like something we looked for, how to do the UX. Lemonade is not live, it's non-live, but for how they approach the customers, how they do their web pages and everything. So this was one of the things. Then very flexible, so we can change and do all the time. We change the headlines all the time. We change the bits and pieces on the web to work with a channel. And the mobile application is actually very simple. If you look at the mobile application, it's only showing people how many points they get, how many rewards they get for the last 7 weeks. That's all for now. In future, we show them history and everything, but the application doesn't process the data. The data processing is done in Python in database on the servers, and the application just shows the data. It's like a display. The application is connected to eHealth, Apple Health, and Google Fit, and via that we collect the data from all devices which can be connected to these two applications. Mutumutu journey. It started in 2017 without me, where the current CEO Indra Lenz and the owner of Creative Dog, who developed and invested Mutumutu and is present also in Slovakia, had the idea to connect it and saw the first insight that yes, there is a Vitalite which does that, but it's a very complex program with precise mathematical statistic. So we decided to do it in a very simple way, to test it and see what's working. At the beginning, we even didn't know whether the online is stronger or whether the rewards from the activity is stronger. Then we partnered with Komerční pojišťovna, and we did the feasibility study, the product, the channels, and etc. Then we did a pilot in about a year ago, and then we launched in October. So we are going to celebrate 1 year live. And then MVP, the numbers I mentioned, it's for MVP, so it's before the scale and before the rollout. So for the MVP, we actually met the target, or achieved the target of customers, overachieved the number of applications which were downloaded and number of active customers. So for us, it's very important to have real data with which we can play now. At the beginning, I mentioned we didn't know whether it's online or whether it is a reward system. So we created 2 microsites. The approach one, which was called PEA, provide life insurance, which was fair and online. So we checked how people are attractive to the way that it's very simple. It has no asterisks, it's written in human language, and it's only online. And the reward factor was, let's say, suppressed in the communication on the web. And the second approach was Pulse. And we said, okay, let's focus on the health, the lifestyle, active people who can actually, by doing the activity, what they are doing anyway, like running, walking, doing more sports, can gain some benefits on the life insurance. So there was a second microsite we developed, and we tested these 2 microsites. And the result was that none of them won. They were about the same way. The testing is done, then you create these microsites, the people go through the whole process of underwriting, except of health questionnaires, but basic questions asked. At the beginning, you ask them to wait until the service is done. So and ask them to help to give us feedback whether the service would be beneficial for them. By that, we gathered the real information, no research. It was like people get to the end. Some of them could be disappointed, but we promised them as soon as possible. It's launched, then you are the first in line to get it with some kind of discount. Those people who were time.
Sorry, no time, but more importantly also a couple of questions, and then summarize in a couple of minutes and we.
Okay,
yeah. So just we'll take those questions, which are: does your product compete with, cannibalizes the life insurance of KB Poistovna?
Great question. No. This is one of the good things we had, because we discussed with about 5 insurance companies about the project, and KB sells the product mainly through the Komerční banka, which is one of the biggest banks in the Czech Republic. So the online and sells through this branch channel doesn't compete. Otherwise, we get some comments whether it would compete with agents, either external or internal. So there is a good fit also from the terms of distribution channels. There is no clash.
And then the second one, no concern from the licensed insurance company that healthy lifestyle will not actually result in less claims.
Yes. the hit, if it doesn't work, then the risk provider, it's komerční pojišťovna. That's why we agreed on the number of clients we underwrite. Also, we are discussing with the insurance companies because they're interesting in the long term. How does it work? So if for example, komerční pojišťovna doesn't want to do it with us, then we can help them with the insurance companies who are really interested in doing that. And it's all limited because we are agent, we have separate company, we agree on the number of customers we underwrite. The risk is closely monitored, but in life insurance in 15 years. So we discussed and went through the actuaries' calculations with the studies we went through to actually make this calculation, let's say, somehow objective. I mentioned we do running, walking, and cycling at the sports. For running and walking, there are studies which go back 10, 20 years backwards. So you have quite a good number of data. For cycling, not that many, but if we add, for example, like some indoor activities or health food, then there is no like a real 100% proof that you can earn points because you eat vegetables every evening. But you can do for running, you can do weight of points like 80%. And for running, you can do much more points than for like softer activities, which you cannot control anyway at the moment. So our approach is we trust the customer, we see it, and over the time we learn from the data. As many data we gather, the more we learn about it. And always the biggest weight on the cashback, it's measurement of the proven activities, and for marketing and for allowing people to gain some points for some kind of software activities, then we can do it as well, but with much smaller number of points.
Great.
Answer?
That was it. I think if you can summarize in a couple of minutes, I think we had a lot of interesting questions on your thing. So if it's okay to wrap up in a couple of minutes, that would be.
I mentioned that. Yes, this is the product which we have. So only sick leave, disability pension, and orphan pension, and we claim that we cover what is most important. Actually, not life insurance, but protection of your income. So it's for us more important than talking about life insurance. We discussed, and you saw it in the video, that we can do psychological diagnosis. I know it's very difficult from the actuary point of view and profitability point of view, but again, we are separated, we are testing, we can do it because all the risk, it's like in the entity. If it doesn't work, then we change the product, but we can do this kind of experiments. This you saw in the video also, so we went down with the number of pages because of the simplicity of contract, because in contracts of life insurance, of incumbents, there are terms and conditions which are never changed. For example, they stay there for a long period of time and only adds up to that. So that's because they are some time long. Gamification of life insurance, I mentioned, walking, running, cycling, what do you have to do? 65 steps per week, 130 minutes per week of running, 5 hours of running, and you can combine these activities. And this is actually the results which I already mentioned in the discussion, so you can verify whether I was okay. And that's kind of activity we did at the launch that we did it on the city lights in Prague to do this. Mutumutu was built by Creative Dog, which is also present in Slovak Republic and in other major cities in Europe. Investment was more than 1.5 million euros in all of that system, and now we are in discussions with potential investors and want to move to other countries as well. And we did not only Mutumutu, which is a separate company, but Creative Dog builds insurtech and fintech companies for big corporations as well, helps them to innovate. Could be a separated company, or it's a company as a part of corporation from insurance. We did car insurance, like the better you drive, the less cost. Cubic, which is insurance of laptops, mobile phones, and belongings, personal belongings, which doesn't have to be new. Mutumutu is at the moment the biggest startup we have created. Great. Thank you very much for your question. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thanks as well, David. So